Okay. So next is the JDBC pools. So these JDBC pools, so we know like when we're installing the web methods, we have installed the Oracle first, and then we started installing the web methods. Correct? So when we install the Oracle, like it will create some tables, and to connect to the database and getting the table data, so we need these JDBC pools. So this JDBC pool will be divided into functions, and each function is associated with the pool. The pool is nothing but your database connection. Okay, so you can create a pool alias first, and then you can create each pool to a your function. Okay, so what actually it does is for adapters, if you want to do any operations, okay, so it will connect to this particular pool alias. For example, if I click this, so it will show to where which connection or like which database I'm connecting to. So after completing your installation, so your first task should be assigning a pools to the functions, and you can see so like how many services are running, like minimum connections, maximum connection, total connections. Minimum connections means like how many connections you have to establish from your integration server to the database, and maximum how can it increase based on the request. Okay, so these are the driver aliases we have. So database, Oracle, DB2, and then SQL Server. So the importance of JDBC pools is nothing but like allocating your database resources to the different functions available in the web methods. Okay, next licensing. So it will show for all which are the items you have the licensing. Just read only message. And then logging. Logging is important. Okay, so this logging when we use like for example, you are working with a integration server, they are facing issue related to some particular thing. For example, I'm seeing server log like if I want anything, I will writing into log by using the debug log service. I don't want to use debug log service, but automatically all the data whatever I am doing it in the integration server, it has to come and appear in the logs. I will run a small service. Let's say this new adapter. What's the inside? Okay, nothing. See, this is just a select from a table. So what I'm doing, I am calling this adapter service, and I'm getting the result back. But I don't know what query I'm actually passing, and I'm not able to see anywhere. So what I do is, okay, so for example, say you are getting some error here, you are not getting the proper results. You want to know more about the error and what query it's passing to the backend and everything. So in that case, you can increase the logging level for the particular, uh, for example, say adapters. You can increase the logging for the adapter, or you can increase for the other things also. So we'll see how to increase it. So from the logging, you'll go to server logger. So once you click on server logger, these are the different components available to increase your logging levels. So we'll go to the this edit, go to the integration server. Inside integration server, you will see JDBC. Start connection manager. How to use adapter. So it's in the info stage. I'm making it a trace. Trace is very high and debug is okay. Save. What I do is I'll rerun again. Nothing came, and again I'll go to logs. Yeah, it will not come up now. It's same for us. Yes. Actually here. Sorry, it's not there. Budget. Hmm. So if you see, actually we have not written any transaction, nothing here. I just ran the service. But internally, since it's a local transaction, it will start a transaction even though would not specify anything. So by default, it will start one and it will show you what is the SQL it's executing. And then, so it's like some few parameters it will change and then it will commit the transaction at the end. So the start transaction and commit transaction will not do manually, but automatically it will do because it's a local transaction. So like this, if you want for other components also, you can increase and you can more logs related to your issue. Okay. Next messaging. This JMS, I will come later and will tell you that when we're discussing with the broker. Okay. In this not required metadata and remote servers is important. So this remote servers is, for example, like from our integration server, what are the other integration servers you want to connect? So if you have the remote server created here, then only you will use them in the deployer. I think we have seen this at the time of deployer. So if you want to deploy any code from this integration server, the remote server alias should be exist. Okay, so you can create it. remote server alias, and you can check. You do that. And these are the different resources. Okay, so for example, here important is uh, single sign-on with the web method server. So there is a one web service comes with our product. So where you can do a single sign-on between your integration server and web method. For example, as I told you like last time, want to use the same username and password. Is this okay? So this MWS resolver URL. So by using this resolver, it will have a single sign-on from your integration server to the MWS. So you don't need to use different integration, different user in the integration server and different user in the MWS. You can use the same server, sorry, same user, and that user will be authenticated with this. So if you are not able to hit this URL like this, that means your MWS is not up. Your MWS is low. Are we good? Okay. So if you want to connect any SFTP server, you can create. First, you can give any alias name, and then what is your SFTP host name, and then port number, and there will be like keys for the location. So you can have to give the host key location, and if you save changes, it will show up here, and you can use it in the integration server. And URL alias. So so we know if I want to execute any service, for example, so my package, and then test. Okay. So this test is a just a login message. Logging. So what I'm doing in the logging, I'm writing a message, say 1% Gmail ID, but instead of I'll write mm, test2 service as invoke. I remove global variable substitution because I'm not doing any variable substitution. I saved it. So if you want to call this test2 from my integration server, so what I have to do? I have to add invoke, correct? And then full path of my test2 service. So my test package, so you can give with the colons or you can give like this also. Okay, I don't need any input, so I can directly write it and it will say test2 service was invoked. Okay, so if this service has to be invoked by someone else, so what you can do is, so you can give this URL to that person and ask him to hit this URL. So this is like regular way calling off your service. But I don't want to use my entire path. If I give this path, he will be knowing so where my service is. Instead of this, what I do is I will create one alias and I will give that alias name to him. Hmm. So you can create a alias from here. Okay. So what is the alias name you want to call? For example, say I want to call test two, test two only, and then default URL where it goes. A new alias was created. We'll see how to call this. So instead of giving the entire path like invoke, test service, and then test two, so you can give only the alias name, it will work. So if you give this one to the user, he don't know where it is located. He don't know the exact path, but he will see only this one. He don't know which service he is exactly calling it unless until he comes and checks in the URL alias. So there is one more way where you can give the URL alias. Okay, see here. So this HTTP URL alias, it's already there with the test or the test tool. And if you want to change it, you can give your own name also. One second. Both are same. Test tree also same name. You can give it in the integration server level or in the designer level also. Because I removed the test, we are not able to see it. I made from test to test tree. Clear? And this web service aliasing we have seen, then we are discussing about the web methods aliasing part. How to create the provider alias and then consumer alias. The importance of provider and consumer alias creation is the first thing. So it will be easy when you're migrating a web service from the one server to the another server. You don't need to migrate entire data. So if you change the URL in the IS page, it'll be fine. Okay, so how do you assign aliases? Web service. For example, you are using any consumer. I have two test consumer HTTP web services x.net. So this we have checked for the consumer. Let me check. So whatever here, I'll be able to see there. If I add one more, so I can assign it. Okay, so the important concept in the integration server, what you have to remember is the first thing, so creating the schedulers, and then all the information related to packages. Okay, how many ways you can migrate a package from one server to the another server? The first one will be, so you have to say you will do through the deployer, so you'll move the packages, or what you can do, you can create an archive, it will go to the outbound folder, put into the target server inbound folder, and create it from the install inbound release. Or you can do one more thing also, so you can go to directly the file directory. For example, if you have a software AG integration server instances default packages. So this is the place where all your packages are storing. So you can just copy here from your source, go to target server, the same location, paste it there, reload your integration server or restart your integration server. It will come up without issues. Okay, so and you have to check so what is the importance of the replicate folder here. Okay, so what is replicate inbound, replicate outbound, and archive, salvage. So when the package will go to salvage, when the package will go to archive, inbound and outbound. And you have to check all the steps in the deployer. So what are the things we have covered in the deployer? ED also we have to see. We have to see that. So once we complete the MWS and while going to the project, I will explain you. ED and EDNT. Project explanation time we'll see this. So the logs importance, and then adapters and how to create a adapter service, JDBC adapter service, and this connection property is also important. I will provide a material today to go through that material one more time and then check. I have prepared, like I have taken from someone else, the important questions and everything. You can check them. Other things. No, not methods cloud and security. So ACLs are very, very important. So they'll ask for the ACLs, how many types of ACLs we have, how to create ACL, how the ACL works. And then certificates, if you say, like they will ask about certificates and keystore, thruster. Keystore will be ours, thruster will be partner certificates. And then ports. In the ports, they will ask whether you worked on the file polling or not. And for the parameters inside the file polling, now they will ask. And then settings, I don't think so. If they ask, like they will ask about the JDBC pools, and then global variable and difference between global variable and local variable. Mm, remote servers and proxy servers at not I think. So this proxy servers, okay, so this proxy servers will be when organization is sending the data, they don't send it directly to the partner from the our own server. What they will do is like they will use one proxy server. All the requests will move from that proxy server. You'll send the data, so the data actually don't reach partner directly. It will go to proxy server first, and then from proxy you go to the partner. For any IP, for any customer, you don't want to send your data to proxy and you want to send it directly. That IP you have to add it here in the proxy. If you want to bypass anything, edit proxy bypass. If you want to bypass any proxy, then you have to give the IP or name of the server here. And then so there will be chance for the resources, no, this logging. So logging also server logger you have to say, and how do you increase the logging level. Yeah, that's it. So just go through the videos one more time and let me know. So we'll move to MW. So earlier, like we have three different components called the monitoring, trading networks, and MWS. All these three together now as a web methods, my web method server, MWS. You can do the monitoring part and you can do the administration part also. Okay, so the monitoring part comes like whatever the partner data you're receiving to trading networks and whatever the data you're sending to the trading networks. Everything will come under the monitoring part. The administration part related to all your administration tasks in the my web method server will be in the administration. So in the monitoring, there will be two again. So business and integration. So business monitoring for the BPM, business processing models. If you have any BPM related processing tasks, then you will monitor here. So by using the process instances. Okay, so this process instances uses like to monitor. So what are the business processing models we have and what is the data coming in and going out? We can check it here. So if you click on search, it will display the existing process messages and you can check the details and you can reprocess them. I don't have now to show you the real-time data, but you can see I can show it in the transaction how the data looks everything. So one more is the transaction. A transaction is related to a business to business. So EDA data, like whatever the other data you're receiving into your trading networks, you can see it here. You search for it. Okay, so you can see so what is the data you're receiving and it's going on. So sender, receiver. So this is some random junk data which I prepared. And here, so you can search by using basic. If you do search, it will come up. Or if you don't want all the data to come up, so you can give the start date and end date. And if you want to check for last 1 day or 1 hour the data, you can check it. And if you want to specify by particular partner or particular document ID, so if you have document ID, you can search with the document ID. And if you have conversation ID, you can check with the conversation ID. And if you have any other data which you can check it out, you can check that. Okay, or if you want to, if you go for the advanced, you can add the conditions and are like that. And so if you are using the same query multiple times and you can save that query, you don't need to tell it again and again. You can come to save and then you can execute it. And whatever the data is displaying here, you want to export into Excel or something, you can export. And once you see the data, so you want to see what's inside it, you can check either this date button or you can check this details, view details. So what you can see is like what the your transaction details are. So these are the activity logs. I have received the EDA message around 128 and then it's routing to a process message and then it's checking whether document exists or not, then status changed and then it checking messages a plain my message and then it processed and MDN does not request and status changed, receive invoice and then status changed, processing complete, process payload and status changed. All these are success and you want to see so what are the attributes for it. For example, attributes will call it as a keys existing in your, for example, I want to check this particular transaction that will be based on the internal ID. So internal ID is generated by our web methods whenever the data receives into your trading networks. When it reaches the trading networks, it will create one unique identifier, which is an internal ID by which you can check this. Okay, you can see sender, receiver, who sent you the message, who is the receiver. So do you have any signature or not? All these details you can check it. Okay. So I want to show you about the trading networks. How do you create a partner profile? Okay. Once you create a partner profile, how do you send a data to trading networks? How do you receive it into integration server? And again, how this whole process comes. So it's like it's a very important concept, and I don't want to go through now because it will take like minimum 1 hour to explain you. Okay, that's very important. I want all of you guys to be attend the session. So let me know. I will be coming back on Wednesday. Anyone going home?